What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA podcast. We are here today. A lot of other MMA podcasters are not here today, but we are here to talk about this past weekend's fight card, our end of year awards, shit like that. I am Matt Anderson. Dorian Rose is on the other side of your screen. And Dorian, dude, we are over 50 episodes now of the podcast. Like what's your immediate thoughts as the just like fucking thinking back to where we fucking started, dude? Because you should have seen the setup that I had when we first started. It was the most ridiculous thing on earth.
Like, dude, I remember the shit. Like, I had it on my phone, and I would literally hook it up with a stand, and I had my phone charger hooked up to it because my phone wouldn't last long enough for the pies that we did. And we was in the other house before when we were doing this too, so it is crazy to see that we even made it to 50 episodes. I know we took a little bit of a hiatus in there in the middle because we were trying to get some stuff worked out, but got a nice consistent flow to it now, and glad that we made it actually this far and keep up the consistency too, because that's the hardest part, really.
Yeah, man. For those of you that can tell a difference, I am back to my regular camera today. I got it sorted out a couple hours ago. Gave me a little bit of a hiccup right before we got started, but we're here. We're here. So, I guess before we get started, if you guys wouldn't mind, Drew'd over that like button for us. Subscribe to the channel if you are not. Leave all your comments in the comment section below. Me and Dorian will both read them, and we will get back to you if you have any questions or just criticism. Just don't be an asshole, because you can shove those up your ass. It's the holidays. Let's be nice, and let's get in to today's first topic, dude. This past weekend in fights, it was Jared Cannonier versus Sean Strickland in the main event. I guess the event as a whole, what was your takeaways, I guess?
Pretty dry for the most part on the prelims. I kind of caught a couple glimpses at the prelims, but it seemed like the last two fights that I was able to catch ended up being pretty decent, and that main card actually ended up delivering pretty good. So I would have to say, if I'm going on a scale of 1 to 10, based on the main card, we can at least give it about a 7. It was a pretty solid card to end the year, but coming off the pay-per-view from last week, it was kind of hard to top.
Yeah, dude, I get it. Like, it is what it is. Like, it was a fight night. It was free. Well, I guess kind of free if you have ESPN Plus, but you kind of summed it up, dude. You didn't miss much in the prelims. The prelims were kind of ass, and the main card was a rather good fight night for the most part. One killer that did break my heart, dude, was our lock of the night fell off the card. Julian Marquez versus Deron Win, dude. That was like, if there was one fight that I was like, well, I'm putting the most money I'm gonna even bet on any MMA fight on Julian Marquez by knockout to finish Deron Win. But thoughts on that falling out before we actually get into the card?
Yeah, just more the same thing as you thought. I was going to put a buttload of money on it. The last time I put a lot of money on a straight bet was with Roman Dolidze against Phil Halls, and he absolutely delivered. So yeah, missing out on that straight bet was a punch in the gut, but kind of safe at the same time because I don't know if I want to see Deron Win take too much damage. He's a fun, personable guy. Like to watch his energy and stuff, but fighting at 185 is just not good for Deron Win, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. All right, so let's get in to the results from this past weekend. Sergey Morozov beats Jeremy Newsom 3 rounds in the decision. I don't Unanimous decision. It is what it is. Manel Cobb defeats David Dvorak via decision. He did almost get a submission via Kimura, dude. He had his arm all twisted back at the end of the first round or at the end of the second round. But dude, the Undertaker is tough, and he did not tap. And we will not talk about that fight again. Renat Fakhretdinov versus Brian Battle. Renat Fakhretdinov gets, dude, he got like a 30-25 on 2 judges' scorecard. So Brian Battle had nothing for Renat Fakhretdinov on the ground or on the feet, really. So Said Nurmagomedov gets the 3rd round decision over Said Yakub Kakhramonov. Dude, it's so small. I have to zoom in on it. Matthew Simmelsberger gets the decision win over Jake Matthews, even though he did drop him in every single round. So, you know, I was just hoping that he could get it done. Corey McKenna gets the decision over Cheyenne Velismus. Mikhail Olszejczyk does finish Cody Brundage in round 1 via punches and hammer fist. Drew Dober does finish Bobby Green in round 2 via a left hook. Kind of surprising. Alex Caceres does finish Julian Erosa round 1 with a head kick. Amir Albazi finishes Alessandro Costa round 3 via TKO uppercut punches. Arman Saryukin gets the unanimous decision over Damir Ismagulov, and Jerry Cannonier gets the split decision win in semi-controversial factory over Sean Strickland. Dude, where did the Rafa Garcia fight versus Mahashete? Did I not say that?
I don't remember you saying it, but it was on the early prelims.
Bro,
It was right before Saeed Akop and Saeed.
Bro, I hate these Tapology ads. I don't, bro. Yeah. Anyway, Mahashate gets Rafa Garcia gets the decision win over Mahashate, dude. So let's get this out of the way real quick. Our 3 different picks on the night was Arman Saryukin versus Damir Ismagulov. Mikhail Olszejczyk versus Cody Brundage, and Rafa Garcia versus Mahashate, in which Rafa Garcia versus Mahashate, I went Rafa Garcia, you went Mahashate. I went Cody Brundage, you went Mikhail Olszejczyk, so you got that one right. We are tied for the co-main event, and we all know Arman Saryukin gets the 30-27 over Damir Ismagulov. And dude, you had it for a week. You thought you were going to close the year with it, but it's back here, baby. And I'm closing out the year, the final episode of the year, and just taking it home, dude. Who do you think had it longer this entire year? I mean, I had it for like the past 3 months, basically, but
I mean, you definitely did.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and some of them too. Like, I mean, I'm winging it on some of these underdogs, so I'm really hoping these underdogs come through. But man, they bit me in the ass a couple of times. I got to pick a little bit smarter come next year.
Yeah, dude. And we will have an episode before the fights actually start this upcoming year. We will have an episode out, making our predictions for the year, saying our MMA New Year's resolution, if you will, just something stupid for the channel that we'll try to stick to for the year as far as picks or anything like that. But yeah, dude, takeaways from the whole card, dude. Main event, who did you think won? Sean Strickland versus Jerry Cannonier. Personally, I was like, I think the judges are probably going to give this to Sean Strickland because he's kind of out voluming him, whatever the fuck I'm saying. He was throwing more punches at him. And to me, something kind of stuck out. Like, it looked like the Killer Gorilla was barely missing his punches by like an inch. It almost looks like he was just out of range, just a tad, until maybe like the 3rd round, and he finally started to get him. So at the end, I was like, they're probably going to give this like to Sean Strickland. I picked Jared to win. I was hoping that he won. I was hoping that he knocked him out though. So how did you think this went?
I thought Jared was the rightful winner in terms of how I scored it. I probably would have said about 3 rounds of 2. I thought Sean might have won the 1st and the 3rd, and I thought that Cannonier won the 2nd, 4th, and 5th. I didn't think it was 4 rounds of 1 either way. It was a super close fight, and even if you see the scorecard for 49-46, a lot of people think, oh well, they dominated all those 4 rounds. Like, no, all those rounds were very close, and similar to the result of last week with Blachowicz and Ankalaev, if it had came to a draw, I couldn't have been too mad just because the way the fight was about so even going down the stretch there. I thought really the biggest difference was it did look like that Strickland was able to outpace Cannonier when it came to the volume, but I thought that really Cannonier, when he was able to land, if you look in terms of strike numbers, I think Sean Strickland had only landed about 5 or 6 more strikes total. And you could just see the impact that Jerry Cannonier was able to have with his punches and his kicks, as opposed to what Sean Strickland was able to do. Sean Strickland has a really good jab, and he throws a pretty good right hand behind it too. But I think just with him kind of throwing those pitter patter shots while Cannonier was really trying to go for the home run, I think that's really what separated it for Cannonier to get the decision.
Fair enough, dude. I mean, I can't complain too much. I guess not too many stakes were on the line here. I don't think anyone's like going to get a title shot off of this, and we'll get into some other news about the division later on. But let's move on down to the co-main event of Arman Tsarukyan versus Damir Ismagulov, dude. And dude, Damir had no takedown like defense for Arman. Once he got taken down, he was able to get back up pretty often, dude. But later on in the fight, Arman started to take the back, and then you just kind of seen it was kind of starting to wear on Ismagulov. Rifle decision in like my opinion. Like, did you think like that like Damir won any of the like rounds at all? And I guess. Yeah, just give me your opinion on the fight.
Yeah, so it was a really close competitive fight, and I did think that going in, I thought Ismagulov, I think they said like he had something like a 90-some% takedown defense going into this fight. So, and even Kuta Taladze in their fight with in his fight with Ismagulov was really able to defend the takedowns. I think Kuta Taladze only got one takedown, and when he did, Ismagulov was able to get right back up and do his work. And he's got really good boxing. I thought that he won the first round because I thought the first round was pretty close. He was able to stuff most of the takedowns, and when Arman took him down, he was able to get back up and kind of land a few shots at the end. But you could just tell just the pace from Arman that he was able to kind of set forth on Damir Ismagulov, just really wore on his gas tank. And I think that one of the big things, it was like Ismagulov was wanting to try to establish a pressure, but every time he would, man, Arman's striking has came along a good bit, and especially that that left kick that he throws when he's in the orthodox position. He throws that left kick like it's a freaking jab almost to the body or to the head. He throws it really quick, gets his opponents backing up, and every time he would get Ismagulov backing up to the fence, he just ended up taking advantage and getting the takedown every time. So it was a good win from him, especially coming off of the Gamrot fight, where he really ended up getting outpaced in that fight. So he was able to kind of conserve his gas tank in this one and able to get the win. So I did think Arman was a rightful winner.
All right. Anything on the Albazi versus Alessandro Costa fight? I mean, Alessandro Costa, super late notice like replacement, and he kind of held his own for longer than what I expected for the most part. How about you?
Yeah, no, I would say about the same, that Costa held himself up pretty good. And I thought that, in some of those wrestling exchanges, I thought that, Amir Albazi was going to be able to easily get the submission, and he was able to fend himself out of those positions and even land a couple of big shots of his own. But I just thought that the short notice kind of took on Costa's gas tank a little bit, and Amir Albazi was really able to kind of set that pace on him in the second and third round. And that uppercut with the follow-up was absolutely beautiful. And I do think that there's going to be a lot of guys who aren't going to want to fight Amir Albazi, because that dude, he is dangerous on every aspect of the fight game. And I think a lot of flyweights, I don't necessarily agree with him that they're avoiding him, but I think they also know at the same time, hey, if I can get a little bit of an easier matchup than Amir Albazi, I'll take it. So Amir Albazi, definitely going to be a problem for the 125 division going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And how about Bruce Leroy getting his first like knockout and shit since I can remember, dude? Has he ever gotten like a knockout like in the UFC besides this past weekend?
I believe so, but I would have to go back and look. It's been some years. If I would have to say, but man, the setup on that kick was beautiful, dude. Because he ends up throwing he's standing in southpaw position and he throws a left hand. And it was almost like as if you're playing like a PS5 or Xbox or something like that. Like, dude, there was a lag in his kick. Like, he throws a punch and he almost like waits like 2 seconds before he throws that kick. And as soon as he throws the kick, it looked like Rosa was expecting a front kick. And he pulled a U on UFC 4 and leaned right into that shot, dude. And I mean, ate every bit of it. And the Caceres put him out. And it was just something I had noticed, and I didn't know if you had noticed when Caceres, when it looked like Rosa was still down. Did you notice when they zoomed in on Alex Caceres, it almost looked like he was like sad that he ended up knocking him out? It was just one of the things that I noticed, that they zoomed in on him when he's standing there kind of waiting for Rosa to stand up before Joe Martinez makes the official announcement for the decision. And he's kind of sitting there like, just taking deep breaths as if he's almost like, please get up, please get up. He was really worried for him. So kind of felt bad for Caceres because I'm like, man, it must be hard to kind of set yourself in that mindset as a fighter. But as far as the setup on that kick, dude, it was beautiful, beautiful timing and a well-deserved win for Caceres.
He's just a true martial artist, man. Like he just wants to give all the respect. That's just my guess. Moving on down, dude, to one that we'll talk about these last two on the main card. Drew Dober versus Bobby Green. We did both pick Drew Dober. I thought he was probably going to go to decision. Bobby Green is tough as all hell, but dude, I fucking said this like fucking last week, dude. Drew Dober is a dog, dude. And I swear, every single one of his fights, it's almost like you have to draw the fight out of him just a little bit. Like you have to hit him a few times before he lets you have the full power. I feel like every single fight past the first round, dude, Drew Dober, he's putting his fucking big ass noggin and crimson chin on the fucking test to meet his power, dude. I don't know. Is there anyone at 155 that could stand and go blow for blow with fucking Drew Dober, dude? I don't think there is.
Well, and the funny part about it is too that him and Gaethje actually used to train with each other back in the day. Like they consider themselves training partners with one another. So, very similar styles. Once you kind of break that down and kind of look at how the two like to fight. I don't know if it's more of you got to hit Drew Dober to get started. I think it's more of a because Bobby Green, dude, he was landing on Drew Dober in that first round, and I even messaged you during the fight, and I was like, dude, I don't know how I didn't see Bobby Green just piecing him up because the speed advantage is obviously there. Bobby Green's a little bit of a cleaner boxer, where Drew Dober likes to throw those big, heavy hooks. You can see a lot of Bobby Green shots. He throws a lot of straight shots, and they get right to the point really quick. And he was cracking Drew Dober with that body kick and was following up with the 1-2. And I think there after a while, Drew Dober just didn't go away. And I think for Bobby Green, he's one of those fighters, I've always loved him and he's always gained. But I think he probably had to have something in the back of his mind saying, like, what the fuck do I got to do to get this dude out of here? Like, I'm popping him shot after shot. And he kept backing Bobby Green up against the fence. And Bobby Green was doing pretty good with doing the shoulder roll and getting out of there. And I know it's his style, but he just got caught with his hands down. And I don't want to say playing too much, but he just got caught in the phone booth. And that's what happens when you're fighting guys like Drew Dober, who just will not go away for any means whatsoever. But Drew Dober, anytime you put that dude on a fight card, is going to be likely fight of the night or knockout of the night or whatever the case may be. And I think the same for Bobby Green for the knockout, but for potentially fight of the night. So this matchup right here was foolproof, and it was definitely fight of the night.
To me, definitely fight of the night. This was the one that coming off the card, this is the one that I want to talk about the most, if you will, because, dude, every time I see Drew Dober fight, I just become more and more a fan of Drew Dober. How'd you like the call out for Jalen Turner there at the end? I thought it was a pretty good call out. Wouldn't mind seeing the fight. Tarantula is a big guy. Interested to see that at all?
That's a tough call out. I don't know, man. If you're asking me right now, I told you after that fight, I said Drew Dober takes too much damage, man, and I think the damage is going to eventually add up. You go in there with a killer like Jalen Turner, who has finally seemed to kind of gain his stride, and at 55, he's able to make the weight clean. He is absolutely massive for that division, and he hits like a truck. Even in the Jamie Malarkey and the Brad Riddell fight for Jalen Turner, I mean, he made quick work of them. And Brad Riddell gave Drew Dober all he could handle and then some, and Brad Riddell was the victor. Don't want to do MMA math here by any means, but if Drew Dober goes in there with his chin up in the air, not like Patty Pimblett, but goes in there willing to take a shot to give one, man, I don't know if he's going to be able to give that shot if you're going to try to eat one from Jalen Turner. So it would be fun, but I would definitely favor Jalen Turner early on for sure.
I would just remind you of his fight with one of your favorite fighters ever, dude. Vicente Luque. Like, you know what happened there? He can be touched, you know. I wouldn't count it out.
But I would say that's early on because I believe that was Jalen Turner's debut in the UFC, which I love me some Vicente Luque, and that fight was a very fun fight. And Jalen Turner was actually giving Vicente Luque some problems until Jalen Turner goes to throw the spinning back fist as Vicente Luque goes to throw the right hand. He kind of clipped him in the back of the head, and that's when he rocked him and was able to get the finish. But that's why I was kind of saying that Jalen Turner has seemed to have found his stride now. As far as finding his hands, being more confident, finding his submission game. I mean, he's snapping these the guillotines and these darts chokes up quick. The dude goes for finish after finish, and he's game as hell, and he's got a great chin. So I do think that's a really tough matchup for Dober. I think he could have called it an easier fight, but hats off to him for wanting to call it one of the toughest dudes in the division and one of the more lower ranked guys as well. So hats off to Drew Dober for willing to step in there with him.
He wants all those problems, dude. I'm down for it. Hell of a fight. Mikhail Olszejek versus Cody Brundage, dude. I really I picked Cody Brundage here, but it's just because of my lack of fandom for Mikhail Olszejek. I think he's too small at whatever class he fucking fights at. He could probably go down to 170, and I'd be like, man, why is this guy so small for 170? I just tend to think he's too small of a guy to fight at the weight class. Therefore, I never pick him to win. I thought Cody Brundage was probably going to get him out of there after beating in his last fight, Trayshawn Gore, which I'm a fan of, or I was a fan of on the Ultimate Fighter. So, yeah, it just goes to show that Lord Olszejek, Polish Power #2, is here, dude. 185, and he does have some power as well. Thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I was unlike you. I am a Michelle Olszejek fan. My biggest thing going into this fight, I did pick him to win. But I even told you that I thought that Brundage was going to be a very live dog. I think he was all the way up at plus 295 or something like that. But I would have even I didn't throw any money on him because I pretty much shat away all my parlays at like the beginning of the fight card. But yeah, I would have definitely thrown some money towards Cody Brundage's way just because his style with his wrestling. He's got decent hands. He's got pretty good submissions. So I did think that he was a live dog, but Olszejek, man, that dude, he is just a killer. And every time I ever see him fight, man, I'm always more impressed. Just because in the Sam Alvey fight, the way he was just able to walk down Sam Alvey. And I'm not saying that Sam Alvey is the best fighter in the world, but you don't see people just put away Sam Alvey the way he did either. And he had a couple fights at 205 where he had similar performances, but just when he would kind of try to level up, he would, to your point, would be a little bit smaller in those matchups like Dustin Jacoby and those guys and kind of got outmatched. I think 185 would be the perfect spot for him because he's clearly got the speed advantage over a lot of guys. He's not the biggest guy, but he seems to be able to go for a long time. Like that dude can just go and just fight and fight. And his power, man. I mean, for him to be able to have his back taken for, probably a good 2 minutes in that round before he gets to top position. And he rained down one of those big left hands. And I was like, man, just keep throwing it. And he just kept throwing the left hand over and over again. And man, Brundage was out probably before those last 3 punches landed. So yeah, I do think that Michelle Olszejek, he is going to be he's going to be someone to look out for at 185. I don't know about potential title challenger, but you want to talk about some fun matchups, man? That dude goes out there and he comes to bang, and that's exactly what he does. So I definitely like his potential going forward in the 185 division.
Fair enough, man. I just want to talk about these last two from this past weekend, and then we can jump into our news and then our end of year awards, dude. So, Corey McKenna versus Cheyenne Valismus, dude. Dude, Cheyenne Valismus has fixed no holes in her wrestling game, dude. And she just got taken down and controlled for 3 rounds, talking shit from the bottom. That's not going to do anything. Dude, she looks fantastic on the feet. She's like a female O'Malley out there with her fucking jetting in and out, her like fucking range and shit. But her wrestling, dude, is much needed improvement. anyone with decent wrestling, dude, can take her down and literally just hold her there. You saw Maserat Conejo put her in that headlock for 15 minutes straight, and it looks like, dude, if you can get her down, you can hold her there. Does it surprise you that she hasn't fixed the holes yet, or is Corey Poppins and McKenna just that good, dude?
I of course the cop out answer is I would say both, but if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Corey McKenna's wrestling because I mean you got to think of who she's training with as well. Uriah Favorite at Team Alpha, not Team Alpha Male, but Team Alpha. You know those guys being really good wrestlers, and I've heard Uriah Favorite in a few interviews talking about how good Corey McKenna is and how she's sort of just now hitting her potential. But the only thing, man, I just got to bring it back to Cheyenne Velismus and not even just her not being able to round up the holes in her game, but it's like you got to understand at the same time, like she almost acts as if no one is allowed to wrestle in MMA because she's like at the beginning of the third round, after she gets taken down and controlled in the second round, she's standing there and she says, "Well, how about we keep it on the feet in the third round?" Like, okay, so that's going to make me automatically want to go in there and take you down because you already don't want to be on the ground. You're asking me to keep it on the feet. I'm going to take you down. And yeah, it's almost like she's trying to do like Jedi mind tricks to make Corey McKenna not wrestle. And like, bro, that's just not working. So yeah, Cheyenne Velismus has got to understand that, you know, with her being as potent of a striker she is, if she's going to be in there with another chick that is not a decent striker, even near the level that Velismus has kind of shown to this point, they're going to take her down. Like they're going to take you down, Cheyenne Velismus. Like you just have to deal with it. And maybe I don't know if you have to switch camps. Maybe holla at your boy Roman and see if he can teach you some good sweeps and shit and some submissions off your back, so that way you can try to get out of those positions. But yeah, it's just disappointing to kind of see her not really add any more tools to her game. But good win for Corey McKenna to be a pretty sizable underdog going into this fight and being able to get the win and kind of keep her momentum going forward too.
Yeah, man. Chat on my chasing parlays for the night, if you will. I was like, all right, she's pretty much a lock. And then, dude, midway through the second round, I was like, fuck, dude, I'm not making any more bets, dude. I'm done. I'm done. Last one that I want to talk about from this card, dude. Matthew Semi the Jedi Simlesberger versus Jake Matthews, dude. Semi the Jedi, dude. People gotta stop sleeping on his fucking power, dude. He dropped Jake Matthews every damn round, and dude, he probably could have got the finish, but I feel like he's still so green. His like fucking coach is like, calm down, Matt. Calm down, Matt. Like every time like he was about to finish him, he's like, calm down, Matt. Like relax, left, right. Like it's just like, just let him finish, dude. Cause I had a fucking straight bet. I think like fucking Matthew Simlesberger KO round 2 or 3, and it was like plus 900 or something like that. I was just trying to win a few dollars, dude. But Matthew Simlesberger got that power. Do people need to recognize him, or does his Alex Morono fight take a little bit of shine off of what happened this past weekend?
Well, I don't think you can say that because I would say that, you know, if you try to put in contrast with that Alex Morono fight, I'd say he fixed, you know, some of the holes in his game. And I think that Jake Matthews is a guy who has decent footwork too. And he was able to kind of find his range, you know, and with the Simlesberger and Morono fight, you know, Alex Morono was able to really keep it on the outside, kind of get those blitzes on the inside and then step outside and honestly just danced around Simlesberger when it came to the footwork. And Simlesberger was really like chasing him instead of cutting him off in the octagon. And that's what made it to where he couldn't really land that big shot. Whereas, and maybe it came to an advantage with him being in the UFC Apex too, the smaller octagon, so he didn't have as much room to chase. But he was able to kind of get Jake Matthews cornered, and almost every time he was able to land just a big shot. And I would say they probably told him to calm down a little bit, him being a young green fighter. Whereas, you know, Jake Matthews, sort of what I was saying last week, you know, even though he hasn't won all the top level fights, this dude's been in the UFC for a long time and has a lot of experience under his belt. And he was coming off of, you know, one of the better performances in his career against Andre Fialho to build his confidence going into this fight. So I think he got the best Jake Matthews he could have gotten. And I just thought that was a really good performance from Semelsberger to walk him down, land those big shots, and to not gas out, because a lot of those guys, you land those big shots, it's easy to kind of try to go for the ground and pound. Jake Matthews showed a good chin to be able to stay in there every time, and Semelsberger did a good job in not overexerting himself and still able to knock him down all 3 rounds and get a very decisive win.
Yeah, man, for sure. Anything else on this card, or you want to move into the news?
Yeah, we can move into the news. I'm not really too I mean, maybe Brian Battle. Tough loss for him. I'm a fan of him. So Renat Fakhretdinov, dude's a savage. And we were talking about him fighting a bunch of cans in Russia and stuff like that. But looks like it almost doesn't matter, because Fakhretdinov definitely showed that he's a few levels above Brian Battle. Brian Battle looked definitely green in this fight. So would like to see him get a few more fights under his belt before deciding to move out. But good win for Fakhretdinov too.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna move on to our news and fight topics, things of that nature. So up first, man, we got Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak rebooked for Saturday, February 4th. Immediate thoughts on that? Are you glad it rebooked, or would you rather seen something else?
Do you know, and I know this is early, do you know if it is the main event or not?
Yes.
I don't know if I like the main event for Derek Lewis, because I think that gives Spivak more time to be able to wrestle, because he's really been able to implement his wrestling in a lot of his last few fights, and he's been able to get a lot of finishes too. So I do think that's a tough matchup for Derek Lewis, but we're glad to see him get the turnaround, and hoping Derek Lewis can get the job done.
We just talked about him. Dude, this guy's been in the news nonstop. Roman Dolidze will be having Cheyenne Velismus for Christmas, but also he will be fighting Marvin Vettori on March 18th, dude. So this dude just keeps winning, dude. Thoughts on that fight?
And did I not call this fight? Like, I literally called this fight. I said I needed to see Vittori's chin tested, and you're like, dude, you always want to see Vittori's chin tested. But it's one of those mythical creature things, dude. That like he never gets hurt as many times as he's been cracked, and he's been in there with some hitters too. Like, he's been in there with Jack Hermanson, Apollo Costa, and Robert Whitaker and Izzy, and you name it, and he has never been even like wobbled. But Roman Dolidze is cooking with hot grease, because he is definitely he's on a roll right now. All the finishes that he's been able to accumulate this year, and rolling all that momentum into that March 18th fight night. So I'm definitely going to be excited to see that fight. Should be a very good, very competitive fight, and I'm curious to see where Roman goes, because if he wins, man, there's a good chance he might be right up and right next in line for a title shot, depending on how the Izzy and Pereira fights go. So good. That's a good fight overall. I'd like to see.
Yeah, man. Overall, the dude just has it all right now. So moving on to our next fight announcement. Dude, they're giving Guido Canetti everything that he asked for. He asked for, someone that was a tough fight, and he gets Mario Bautista, dude. March 11th, bantamweight. Thoughts on that?
Almost every time I've counted out Guido Canetti,
Me too,
he has
dude.
came through, dude. I mean, I thought Randy Costa was gonna be able to get him, and he ended up taking I think Randy Costa went to throw a head kick and slipped, and that's how he was able to get the back take. But man, he's been able to get these finishes pretty pretty damn nice. So it's gonna be hard to doubt him, but Mario Batista is also a very tough dude who's hard to finish as well. So
He's
that
been
should
coming on,
be.
man. He's been coming
Yeah,
on.
now he definitely has. Mario Batista's got good hands, good submissions. So he's definitely a very balanced fighter. And Guido Canetti, he's been coming on along as of late too. So that's a good matchup.
All right. Up next, we got Andre Fili versus Lucas Almeida. Can you remind me who Lucas Almeida is?
I believe, if I remember correctly, Lucas Almeida was one of the guys that came off the Contender Series. Um, if I'm remembering correctly, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really too. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I can't really remember off the top of my head if he came from the Contender Series or not. So it goes to show how much we really care about this one.
Yeah, man. But yeah, dude, we do have the return of Andre Touchy-Feely, though. I do know Andre Touchy-Feely, always in pretty good fights overall. Up next, dude, we got CJ Vergara taking on Daniel Da Silva, dude. So Daniel Da Silva missed weight a few weeks ago, so his fight didn't happen against like Vacinas Salvador, and then this fight is booked for March 25th against CJ Vergara, dude. Flyweight bout. Care about that one at all or no?
CJ Vergara, he's one of those guys that came off the Contender Series, and I was kind of hoping a little bit for him too. And he hasn't really quite lived up to the expectation just yet. But I would like to see Vergara get a win, and Daniel Da Silva, he definitely makes for fun matchmaking. But if he doesn't get it done early, he usually gets finished off about late first, early
Usually,
second.
yeah, usually within the first. If if you're not ready to be out of that octagon by the time you walk up the steps and the cage door closes, and you have maybe 2 minutes of energy in you, you can probably get Daniel Da Silva out of there, dude, because he's got one deep breath in him until he's gassed, dude. Oh, dude, this one is going to be an interesting one for you. We got Chidi Njokuani taking on Albert Duraev, March 25th. Thoughts on that one, dude? Besides, it's probably going to be fight of the night.
Yeah, I mean, it should definitely deliver, and then you said it was Kennedy Njokuani.
Yep. No. Chidi
Yeah.
Njokuani.
Oh, shit, I was like, wait a minute. Did you mix Kennedy and Zechiku and Chidi and
No.
Kawani together? Yeah, but for Chidi, yeah, I do think that he's needing to win coming off of that coming off that Rodriguez fight, and Albert Duraev has been looking tough as of late too. So as you said, should be fight of the night, and I'll definitely be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, man. We got the return of Joanne Wood, formerly known as Joanne Calderwood. She's going to be taking on Luana Carolina on March 18th, man. Care about that one at all?
Nice to see Joanne drop the Calderwood, and it's nice to see her back in action. So that I'm a big JoJo fan, so excited to see her back in there, and could potentially be a I don't want to say an easy win, but she's definitely gonna be favored going into that fight for sure.
Going to be a tough one for me to choose in here, but we got Andre Muniz taking on Brendan All In Allen. Thoughts on that one?
Oh, that's an interesting fight, especially for Andre Muniz coming off the Uriah Hall fight. So I'm imagining that I don't have the rankings in front of me, but I got to think that Andre Muniz is going to be somewhere between that 10-15 range, and he's fighting down. And Brendan Allen, finally looking to get ranked in at 185. So that's a pretty good matchup, man. I do like that, and I do like Brendan's wrestling ability against Muniz's submission in his BJJ ability. So that's a
And he
that's a
only
really good
goes for
matchup, man.
arm bars, so if he protects his arms,
Yeah,
he should be all right.
yeah. Well, as long as Brendan Allen doesn't lay on his back and give up his arm. But yeah, man, Muniz literally only goes for arm bars, even if he's in a position to get the neck. So that was one of the disappointing things off that Uriah Hall fight. But hey, he got the dominant dub. So and moving up in the division. So, but that's a really fun fight. I like that fight.
This one kind of confused me, man. Can you help me figure it out just a little bit? We got Holly Holm taking on Yana Kunitskaya at bantamweight, dude.
I think you're probably just more torn because I know you really like the two.
No,
But I really
why is Yana still fighting? Like, what is she doing at this point?
hey
Like, didn't
I
she
know
just
that was
have a
that
baby?
was your girl. I know that was your girl,
Dude,
but
against Chris Cyborg, all right? That was a long time ago. The UFC sold me with their like promotion. We're like, they're just gonna get this is the one to beat Cyborg.
you
Dude,
was like, she's gonna get her, dude. I was like, what the fuck are you
she,
talking about, dude?
she
Like, she
got
is
hit
not
it and her
beating
eyes like
Cyborg.
lit up. Like, what did I just get hit by?
And immediately crumpled. Like the second time she got hit was just like she's just like melted on the octagon. I was like, oh, and like fucking fell over. I was like, dude. But no, I really think honestly, just for Yana, I think it's just hard for her to kind of stay away from the game. And she's married to Thiago Santos as
But
well, so
she's
I'm
taking
sure
a
that
fight against Holly Holm though. Like, geez, that's not like what does that
isn't
do for
Holly
you?
coming off a loss though? Isn't she coming off the Caitlin Vieira loss?
Yeah,
Um,
but that was a pretty close fight overall though.
Yeah, but it in two as well. I think for Yana, it's probably the biggest name that she besides Cyborg that she's fought to this point. let's say the biggest name that will be a competitive fight, or at least remotely competitive compared to that Cyborg fight. And I just think for Holly Holm just trying to get back in there and just stay active. So Holly Holm wants to get back to the title fight, but I could do without seeing her in a title fight. She's already won it before, so just take fun fights and keep it moving.
Yeah, man. Up next, we got Augusto Sakai taking on Dontel Mays, February 25th. Care about that one at all?
I'm still surprised that Augusto Sakai is in the UFC. I know that he's coming out. I know he's on the Contender Series, and I know he's only lost to Spivak, uh, Ty, and Jairzinho. Is that right? As far as who he's lost to in a row, so it's not like he's out here losing to cans, but he's been getting obliterated in some of these fights. So could be one that maybe just use the rest of his name until he's not good anymore. And I think honestly it might be at that point. I'm surprised he's still in the UFC, really.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you saw me like this just a second ago, dude. I scrolled up for just a second, dude. Why are we doing this still? The saga continues on the OSP fight, dude. The one of the people he was matched up against, Felipe Lins, it is now rebooked for February 18th. So OSP versus Felipe Lins, February 18th. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But do you care about that one at all?
I would just like to see OSP go in there, finally get the damn fight going. Now I don't want to say I really care about the fight too much. OSP in his last few hadn't really shown me too much to be excited about, but if he's accepting the fights, I mean, I got to assume that he's going to be in some type of shape to go out there and fight. So, always been an old school fan of him, but I would like to see him maybe get a win and walk off on it.
It is at light heavyweight, so he does have to be in shape. Up next, we got Lena Landsberg taking on Mayra Bueno Silva. There's going to be blood on the Lena Landsberg side, if you ask me. Care about that one at all?
Not intently, but Bueno Silva is a savage though, and Elena Landsberg, isn't she like 40? Or
Dude,
at least close to it.
She's getting up there for sure.
Yeah, another one I'm surprised to still see fighting as well. So, not super interested though.
And you sent me this one earlier. We got Aaron Blanchfield taking on Talia Santos, dude. I could only assume that's going to be probably for like a #1 contender spot, and that is going to be on February 18th. Care about that one at all? And immediate thoughts on that one, besides just Aaron Blanchfield push all of a sudden, yeah?
Yeah, man. I guess what I was trying to think about, because I'd even told you earlier that it should be a #1 contenders fight. And I'll spin it back. I'll spin it forward here in just a second. But no, I think overall, as far as the matchup goes, I mean, it's a really good matchup because Aaron Blanchfield with her wrestling and the grappling advantage that Talia Santos has over most of her opponents, and she was able to give Valentina Shevchenko some problems in the grappling as well when she was able to get that body triangle and really control part. I think it was that third round, and I think she has some of the fourth round where she has some pretty decent control too. Good leg kicks. So she's definitely a good fighter. And I think for Aaron Blanchfield, as you said, they're just trying to make this last push for her to kind of boost her up into that position to fight for the title next. But I guess let me ask you this, because I'm kind of confused now. I'm sitting here thinking about it. If this is the #1 contenders fight, is there a clear-cut #1 fighter right now to fight Valentina Shevchenko? I mean, we're talking since last June, since Valentina Shevchenko fought last. Yeah. Would you think that there would be a suitable opponent for her?
Yeah.
Or would you think that this could be potentially an interim title fight?
I think there is a challenger for Valentina Shevchenko, but I wouldn't know if she's a challenge. She's the challenger. I believe she's going to go fight Amanda Nunes at 135. That would be my guess, because there's nothing for Amanda either. And I know like that Juliana's trying to get like a third fight for her, but nothing really announced, and she hasn't fought in a long time either. I would only assume that they're trying to get some kind of deal done between Valentina and Amanda, which would put this fight to be at a #1 contender spot. I don't think they would throw a interim title on it just because Valentina has just been the champ for so long, and they know she'll come back like to fight for the title. Again, I don't see any reason for them to put an interim on it, but I do believe this will be for the number one contender spot, though.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting fight, and like I said, I couldn't really think of too many immediate contenders at 125, maybe besides Tyler Santos and Aaron Blanchfield, and then you match them two up. Man, I really would not want to see, and we can get into it another day, but I really would not want to see Valentina and Amanda 3. That second one was bad enough to where I do not need to see a third one from them. Please, Dana, keep it to yourself. I don't need it.
All right, man. Anything else in the news that you want to talk about? Anything announced over the past week that you think that I may be missing or that you want to point out?
The one thing that you actually forgot and you had sent me earlier in the week was Paulo Costa falling out of the fight with Robert Whitaker, man. Yeah,
Oh
so that
yeah.
was that was one of the more disappointing results because I was ready to see Costa potentially get his head kicked off, and not able to see it this time. Although I can say through Paulo Costa's social media, he has kind of made me laugh at him a little bit more. So I'm more interested in what he's doing next and what I may have been before. Call me stupid for thinking that way, but he does have a little bit of an entertainment factor with him on social media, even if he has somebody kind of boosting his social media profile for him. But that was a really fun fight that was going to be on Perth. I think it was going to be the co-main event for Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev. So disappointed to see that fight fall off because that was definitely going to be a banger.
I guess like the reports came out like they wanted to pay 70 and 70. So that's what Paulo didn't want to take the fight. 70K to show, 70K to win, dude. So even if he wins 140K, man,
dude, that's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face. And honestly, I can't blame him. I mean, you're fighting that high level of a guy and you're going into his home country to do that. I mean, come on, UFC. You gotta pat his pocket a little bit better than that if you're expecting him to take that type of fight, man.
like
So
even though he isn't the best, he's one of the top fucking middleweights. Like, like at least 200 grand. Like, like if you win 200, like
or at least or at least 100 to show 100 to win. Like, damn,
yeah.
dude, you mean to tell me a former title challenger is getting offered 80K to show or 70K to show, 70K to win when he's fighting Izzy, I guess you could say is technically the number one contender, but outside of that, I mean, the three kings in that division right now are Alex, Izzy, and Rob, and then it's just the rest of the guys in that division. And Paulo Costa is definitely taking a step up in that fight. So for the UFC not be able to kind of pat his pockets, man, kind of disappointing. But I heard Robert Whitaker on I believe he had released just like a video statement, and it sounds like they actually want to rebook the fight. So it sounds like there's still some negotiations that they're trying to kink out, and I would like to see them be able to keep the fight.
Yeah, dude. It would be interesting if they could keep it. It's still like a little bit away. Like I'm surprised like the reports are already like out now for it. It's like this card is in what, like fucking March or some shit like that.
I think it's February. Yeah,
Oh
because March
yeah.
is going to be the London
Oh
card. So yeah, that one's going to
yeah.
be in February. So I mean, yeah, you're kind of closing in on a month and a half's time now. Some of those guys like to do 8-week, 12-week, 10-week, 12-week training camp. So
And fucking Paulo's a big guy, so it takes him a while to get down to 185, man.
yeah. So I could definitely see why they wanted to scrap it for now.
Yeah, man. Anything else though?
Nah, man. I think that's all I can really remember.
All right, so that is our news for the weekend. So let's end out this year with a bang, man. Let's give our year end awards. We have a few here. I sent you like this list earlier. We have KO of the year, we have submission of the year, we have comeback of the year, we have round of the year, we have fight of the year, we have fight night card of the year, we have pay-per-view of the year, and we have fighter of the year. And then just a few other ones that I just like sent to you too. What is one fighter, male or female or fucking one of each? It doesn't really matter. That surprised you this year, and you're excited to see what they go on to do next year. So that is kind of our next little rundown for the topics. So let's start, man. KO of the year. There were a lot of contenders. I seen a lot, dude. Mine goes back toward the beginning of the year, but I want to ask you first. KO of the year. What is your knockout of the year, man?
Man, there's a lot of good contenders that you could put up for this, and I really what I thought about, one, I didn't want to have the same picks as you, but two, I was kind of thinking about like my own personal reaction as to when I seen the actual knockout. So I remember the one that I like. I remember I was eating McDonald's. Like I remember I was eating in my living room. I was watching, and when Jamal Hill crushed Johnny Walker with that left hand and turned Johnny Walker into a mannequin, I was eating a McDouble and I started choking on my McDouble and I jumped up in the air because I was like, holy shit. Like, I cannot believe he landed that. And to see the way he hit Johnny Walker with that and to see Johnny Walker fall back like a tower that just got blown out from underneath. And he just completely fell down. And Jamal Hill to follow up with that killer follow-up shot and put Johnny Walker out of there, make Johnny Walker a meme for the first quarter of the year with that little the chin action that he had there. Yeah, man, I keep going back to that one, and that one's definitely probably my, or not probably, it is my KO of the year. Johnny Walker getting KO'd by Jamal Hill.
Yeah. Just to let you know, it's all right if we have the same ones, man. It's all right. We all have our personal opinions, and it just is what it is. It is truly what we liked the best, and that is where I'm going, dude. Although I did enjoy or do enjoy Johnny Walker getting cartoonishly knocked out, dude. It's like he's like one of those inflatable men with his arms. He's like, it's so nuts. But although that was a good one, that was in my top three for sure. My KO of the year has to go to one of the women, man, that we don't see get this award very often, and that is the meatball, Molly McCann, with her spinning elbow knockout in London earlier this year over Luana Carolina, dude. Just the way that she laid her out just completely flat at the end of the fight. And then the celebration at the end, she hopped the fence. She goes and grabs a belt from who knows where, dude. And then is drinking Howlerhead cage side for the rest of the night, dude. Molly McCann, in my opinion, wins knockout of the year with a spinning back elbow over Luana Carolina. Thoughts on my pick?
That was definitely honestly, I almost went with that one, so I'm glad I didn't pick that one. And the only reason why I want to pick a little different too is just to show a little bit of variety as well, and just to show like, hey, this has been a wild ass year, man. Like it might not have been 2021 or 2020 as far as the like the big matchups are concerned, but the UFC had a really good year this year. I would say probably my top three were probably Chandler over Ferguson 3, Molly and Luana Carolina 2, and then Johnny Walker and Jamal Hill 1. So that was definitely going to be one of mine for the contender of the year too. And Molly's a savage, man, and I just love the energy she brings. So that's a good pick.
Fucking come on. Dude, it's my favorite.
Can I have a rollie? Rollie.
So we'll move on down to our sub of the year. And if there's one that I think that we might have the same one on, it's going to be this one. So I'm going to let you go first because I know your fandom for this fighter if you pick the sub. So I'm going to let you go first and tell me why this sub is your favorite sub of the year.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. You got me kind of thinking here because I can't quite remember, but there's one that I actually go back to, and for me in this one, I'm thinking of more the uniqueness and the way that it happened, and probably going with Zhang Wei Li over Carla Esparza, man. The way she was able to secure that, I guess it was technically called rear naked, but the way that she was able to kind of trap off Carla's arm, the way she did with her legs, and then to basically choke her with one arm. I know she was able to get the other hand on it and lock that grip in, but that one arm was in for a long time, and Carla was controlling the one arm and was trying her best to fend off the submission, but man, Zhang Weili is just a savage, and she was going to get that finish in any way possible. I know you kept saying that she was going to get that finish, and she absolutely did. And I thought it was going to be a knockout. I think the surprise element and the way that she did it to a very dominant wrestler, Carla Esparza, and to recapture the title for her second time and to begin her second title reign, I think I had to give it to Weili.
Yeah, dude. That's a good one. That one makes a lot of sense. It didn't really come to my mind for some reason, dude. Because this one submission has just stuck out in my head all year, and it's by your girl Jessica Andrade, dude. The standing head and arm triangle over Amanda Lemos, dude. No answer changes now, dude. In my opinion, sub of the year, hands down, dude. You never see that at all, and much less from women. And the a person the size of Jessica Andrade, just so small, so strong, so powerful. 3 minutes into the first round, ended up in some kind of clinch position with Amanda Lemos and choked her out on the feet, standing there, dude. Thoughts on my pick, man?
That's a good pick. Honestly, I completely forgot about it, and I would say Andrade and Amanda Lemos. That was a hard fight for me to call because they're both two of my favorites within that division. But Andrade, she's such a freaking tank, man. And yeah, for her to get that standing arm triangle, I think they said it was the first one in UFC history, and you can see the grimace on Amanda Lemos' face when Andrade is really sinking that choke in. So that's a good pick right there for the sub of the year.
Cool. Up next, we got comeback of the year, dude. I have two options for this. I guess I have one. I don't know, dude. I'm gonna let you go ahead. I'm sure we had the same one, and then I'm sure we probably had the same backup one as well, just in case. So, go ahead, dude. Did Matt Schnell have comeback of the year over Sumu Darji, and if so, tell me why.
Yeah, so there's a couple of them that you can go with. That Matt Schnell one, I kept going back to it and I kept saying, dude, like Sumo Darji should have finished him probably 3 different times in the first round, and the fight should have been stopped. But for Matt Schnell to get up the way he did and get that finish, yeah, man, it was just absolutely crazy. But man, I honestly, and I've been going back and forth probably with this one the most. I think you got to go Leon Edwards.
That was my other one, dude. Leon Edwards over Kamaru Usman, dude. I literally honestly have two: Schnell over Sumu Darji or Leon over Usman. Those are my two that I have.
You got to remember the third one as well. And I'm a little bit more begrudging to pick that one because it's a little bit more sensitive on my part. But Alex and Izzy. So I mean, you want to talk about comeback of the year? I mean, Izzy's comfortably up 3 rounds of 1 and is winning the 5th round before he gets finished. But I just think in the way that it happened, because I remember, and I keep telling you, I remember these moments and when it happened, and what I was doing, and I was sitting on my bedroom floor and I'm watching the fight, and I'm like, man, Usman, he's smoking this dude. I was like, man, I'm probably gonna get up. I was like, I'm probably gonna go smoke the rest of this blunt and go to bed, man. And I was like, man, for some reason, I said, let me just stay here just a few more minutes just to watch the rest of this fight before I try to get up and rush too much. And I just remember when the kick landed, like I'm sitting on the floor and I did not move. Cold chills just came over my body. Like I just had like this cold bumps all over my body. And I'm just staring at my TV. Like I'm waiting for Usman to basically get up and fight back. And I'm like, did he just get fucking knocked out, bro? Like, what just happened? So I remember I was just so mesmerized just to see him just get flatlined the way he did. We can probably say, definitively, the first time Kamaru Usman has eaten a shot that clean. And yeah, the first time he ever really ate one that clean, it put his lights out. So for me, very tough between those 3, but I got to go with Leon Edwards.
Yeah, man. I have to go Schnell over the fucking Sumu Darji just because the amount that he was just getting fucking mollywopped and then just comes back, dude. So, yeah. So, up next, round of the year, dude. And this is another one, dude, where I was torn between two smaller weights and 2 higher fucking weight classes here. I'm going to give you one of mine up front, and then I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to give you my other one if you don't have the other one. My upfront number one pick for round of the year is round one, Trezano versus Choi, dude. If the UFC fight has a double knockdown in it, dude, it's going to be round of the year. That fight was fucking bananas for as long as it lasted. They were dropping each other back and forth, dude. Mike Trezano does indeed end up getting the win there. But if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Trezano versus Choi. It is an absolute barn burner for as long as it lasts. Dorian, what is your round of the year? And then I'll give you my second place if you don't have this as your first place.
Man, that's a really good one. I don't know how I ended up forgetting about that fight. So, and it just goes to show that, man, like so much happens within the year that it's very easy for us to kind of get lost in the sauce, basically, for what the UFC puts out. But for me, I would have to say, and this might be your other one, but I gotta say Yuri and Glover round 5.
Nope. That wasn't
man. That round 5 between them two dudes. So as you know, big Yuri fan. That 5th round starts and Glover immediately lands the biggest right hand that I've seen anybody land clean on Yuri like that. Backs Yuri up against the fence. Yuri has his hands down and Glover goes to throw like a couple hooks, misses, goes for the guillotine. What are you doing, Glover? Just finish him on the feet. But goes for the guillotine, gives up position. Yuri kind of controls him for a little bit of the round. Glover gets top position back. Or I'm sorry. I think Glover gets the position there for a little bit. Yuri's able to reverse it and get that kind of bulldog choke with 30 seconds left in the round in order to win the fight. So that 5th round was just up and down and just had every bit of MMA involved in it. And then we got the finish at the end as well to change hands for the belt. So I got to go Yuri and Glover round 5.
Good choice, though. Good round. I guess for me, I am much more of a fan when fighters are just fresh and they're just winging at each other, which brings me to my second pick, RoboCop versus Chidi and Jaquani, dude. How crazy was that first round, dude? When Chidi and Jaquani split his head open, and then it was just, dude.
You can see his skull. You can see Gregor Rodriguez's skull, dude.
You can see the veins in his head and shit. That round was an absolute barn burner too. Chidi and Jaquani ends up gassing out, and then early round 2, Gregory just comes out and tosses him down and just hits him a few times, dude, and he was done. He was done. Yeah, dude. There have been some excellent fights this year. But we will move on down to our fight of the year. Dorian just now kind of mentioned it. My fight of the year was UFC 275, Yuri Prochazka versus Glover Teixeira, dude. This is probably going to be a lot of people's fight of the year. I don't know if I'm just super biased. I'm a huge Yuri fan, and just to see the heart and the dog and the tenacity and the warrior that this man is, I cannot wait until we see Yuri again, dude. It's just hands down one of my top 2 or 3 favorite fighters in the sport right now. I love me some Yuri Prochazka, dude. When he fucking channels his chakra and then whops people right in the face, dude. What is your fight of the year, man?
Yeah, that was definitely that was the one that I was tossing back and forth with the one that I do think is going to be the fight of the year, and I think you got to stay Chandler and Poirier. We knew going into that fight that fight was going to be absolute fireworks, and I think that fight delivered in all aspects, man. You know, Chandler comes out as he always does. That you want to talk about another one of those first round guys, the one that I'm always like the mythical creatures for first rounds. Michael Chandler in the first round, like, holy shit, dude. Like that, like he literally, like, I've heard so many people criticize him for fighting so dumb. And he does. He fights so dumb because he literally just goes in there with his hands down and just wings right hands. But he's so fast. He's so explosive. He closes the range easy. And he's super dangerous. And he landed big shots on Poirier early in that fight. Kind of had Poirier wobbled up against the fence. But in typical Dustin Poirier fashion, gets backed up against the fence. But waits for Chandler to throw one of those big hooks. Slips and throws a big right hook of his own and rocked Chandler, set him down. And man, the way that he was able to get that submission in the third round, that was actually my number 2 for submission of the year, considering that Michael Chandler had never been submitted before in his career, and this is over a long career that he has had. So for him to actually get submitted by Dustin Poirier, who Islam Makhachev kind of joked and said that he didn't have good jiu-jitsu, for Dustin to be able to get into the war that he was able to and get the fight on the ground and get the finish. Hell of a win from Dustin, and that fight overall, like every time I see Chandler and Poirier fight separate, I get excited. But when you bring the two together, I mean, it was absolute fireworks. So I love that fight.
Yeah, and then drops the line. Who said I don't got no jiu-jitsu?
But I ain't got no jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. I love me some DP there.
Great fight overall. As you said, dude, every fucking Michael Chandler fight that, dude, I have ever watched to this point has been pretty much absolute fireworks for the most part, dude.
Could you quick sidebar? Could you imagine a fight between Drew Dober and Michael Chandler? Like, holy shit, that's the fight. That's the fight that we need to say. Not Jalen Turner. We need to see Drew Dober and Michael Chandler fight. Make it happen. That
would be someone like just took some dynamite and just lit it in the middle of the octagon and like, all right, let's see what happens.
Here we go.
All right, so moving on down, dude. We have the fight night card of the year. So the fight night card as a whole, the whole experience, man. I personally have to go with Volkov versus Aspinall from earlier in the year. I believe it was like March. The first England card of the year, dude, was absolutely electric. We had Patty, we had Molly. Tom Aspinall gets the Kimura over Alexander Volkov there, dude. It was just an absolute fantastic card, and the energy there, dude. It literally felt like a pay-per-view the whole time that I was watching it. Hands down, in my opinion, best fight night of the year. How about you, dude? What's your favorite fight night of the year?
And that was a super fun fight night. And I think it was like a lot of finishes. One of the one of the best knockouts of the year. One that I actually was going to pick before I decided with Jamal Hill, with Ilia Topuria and Jai Herbert, for him to just completely lift Jai Herbert off his feet. Just that whole card up and down was absolutely electric. If I had to choose one, I'm going to go back to the UFC Austin card when it was Josh Emmett versus Calvin Kattar. Just to go down some of the names for you, and damn near all these fights were either finishes or split decisions. So they were all competitive fights. You had Roman Dolidze beat Kyle Dawkins by KO with that nasty knee. You had Cody Stamann come back and get the win against Eddie Wineland. You had Jeremiah Wells flatline Core McGee, and that was one of the biggest knockouts of the year as well. My boy Adrian Yanez going out there and completely making light work of Tony Kelly, and then going complete Diaz mode with the double middle fingers at the end of the fight, dude. Man, that fight was absolutely savage. We had Damir Uzmagulov versus Guram Kutateladze, Tim Means versus Kevin Holland, and that was a really fun fight. And then one of the fights of the year, I would say probably top 5 between Emmett and Kattar. Both those guys, whoever you think won the fight or not, that was a really fun fight, and both guys went in there and gave it their all. And man, I thought those performances top to bottom on that card were absolutely fire. I would say that London card is a very, very close to. I mean, we're splitting hairs here and talking as far as the difference. But man, that UFC Austin card, like, that could have been a pay-per-view, and I wouldn't have been mad. I would have gladly spent $75 to buy that. It was all worth it. All the matchups were dynamite.
Hell yeah, man! Both good cards overall, and I almost feel like maybe these Kevin Holland fight nights are just good pay-per-views. I mean, good fight nights overall. Like, even like this last one, like in Orlando, dude.
Yeah,
that was also a good fight night. Yeah.
That's top 3, man, in my opinion. London, Orlando, and Austin. And I think you can't go wrong with either of those picks. So Kevin Holland definitely knows how to bring out the fun in those shows for sure.
Yeah, man. So that was our favorite fight night of the year. So let's move on. We only have a few more other little awards left here. We have favorite pay-per-view of the year. I feel like it's no question what my favorite one of the year is. I've said it all year. Dorian didn't like the card as a whole, but for me, the experience that it was, I traveled to you, man. We watched the fights together early in the morning. The Sugar Show got the dub over Peter Yan, dude. Islam chokes out Charles Oliveira. Charles is on a huge win streak at this point, finishing Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, dude, and then just Islam just comes in there and just makes it look fucking easy, dude. As I said, Sugar Sean O'Malley gets the dub, and we were just hype as hell. It was fun, dude. UFC 280, that is my pick for pay-per-view of the year. What is your pick? And let me know why, man.
Yeah, I think for UFC 280 overall, it was a good card. I think as far as the name value, I feel like the experience that we had with the card was better than the actual card played out itself. I think that was my biggest takeaway from it, because if you look at the name value on that card, I mean, up and down, probably the biggest as far as name value wise on all the cards this year. I just thought overall with the performances, thought that some of them were left a little bit desired, but I do think overall that, if you're asking me for the pay per view of the year, again, begrudgingly saying this, but I mean, you got to go UFC 281 with Izzy and Alex Pereira, man. At MSG, I do think them fighting at MSG, it brought a lot of good performances out and a lot of good fighters. You're talking about one of your favorites, Carlos Ulberg. That's one of my favorites, but I think he's starting to creep up on your list too a little bit. Carlos Ulberg gets a big knockout over Nikolai Negumereanu. Has your round of the year with Michael Trezano and Sung Woo Choi on there. Matt Favola gives Ottoman Azaitar his first loss of his career. Aaron Blanchfield makes light work of Molly McCann, getting the submission there. Ryan Spann turns back into Superman as he flatlines Ryan Spann. I mean, there's finishes all over the place on this card. Frankie Edgar gets blasted by Chris Gutierrez. Dan Hooker gets back on track by leg kicking the shit out of and body kicking the shit out of Claudio Puelles until he's out of there. Fight of the year with Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. Carla gets defeated by Zhang Wei Li. Zhang Wei Li recaptures the title, and one of the top three comebacks of the year with Alex Pereira down on the scorecards in the fifth round and getting that late finish against Izzy to re-spark this rivalry and for them to likely get a fight next year as well. So I think if you're talking just overall quality, definitely UFC 281 was a pay-per-view of the year for me.
Yeah, and it makes sense, dude. I was going off of more of my personal feeling, just the enjoyment that I had just from the card. But that card was truly unbelievable. As you said, it had your fight of the year, it had my round of the year. Dude, it was an absolute fucking banger, dude. So before we move on down to one fighter we're excited to watch out for this upcoming year, that or one fighter that surprised you this year that you're now excited to watch out for next year, I do want to just take a moment looking back on the year, dude. What were some of your good moments? If you can just think off the top, like I'll go first. For example, you are here to correct me if I'm wrong. If I am talking any kind of bullshit, let me know. But just looking back off the top of my head, one that I knew that I had to point out was me calling on the podcast right before, dude. I said Aljamain Sterling is going to beat Peter Yan via split decision, and I put $10 on that. It was like plus 3,500. I won $350 from Aljamain Sterling beating Peter Yan via split decision. What do you think about that? Am I wrong? Like, did I not say that like on the fucking podcast like the week before? I was like, this is what's going to happen. And also, one more was our bold predictions from earlier in the year, dude. What was my two? I think I said O'Malley is going to beat Peter Yan, and I said Alex Pereira is going to knock out Izzy was my other bold prediction. And just looking back, dude, those both happened, dude. How crazy is that? That just a few things that you're like, damn, I was fucking right. But I was probably wrong a shit ton too, dude. I think I picked Juliana Pena to beat Amanda Nunes in the rematch, and that sure as fuck did not happen at all. I did pick Leon to beat Usman, even though it was not going his way. The majority of the fight, he did get that dub at the end of the day. And keeps winning me this pick championship here, man. So looking back, dude, do you have any good moments that you just want to call out? Give yourself a little pat on the back from Colin Wright over this past year.
Man, if I had a little bit more time to prepare for this, I probably could have been a little bit more prepared. I would say probably. I'm just kind of just pulling one off the top of my head here. Calling that, and we didn't necessarily say it on the pod, but man, I could even post the screenshots that as soon as the fight with Josh Emmett and Calvin Kattar happened, I picked Calvin Kattar to win. And I did tell you, I said, man, if Yair Rodriguez ends up winning this fight, they are absolutely going to put an interim title fight up for Yair Rodriguez and Josh Emmett, because it only makes sense. People wanted to see Yair Rodriguez fight for the title next. In my opinion, it didn't make sense. I thought Josh Emmett was a more rightful guy. But at that time, we were thinking that Alexander Volkanovski was going to be out for hand surgery. Now, come to find out, he's going to move up to 155 and fight. So it only makes sense for the interim title fight at 145. But I would say if there's one moment that I kind of called from the beginning, and it ended up playing out was probably that moment that I could recall off the top of my head. Calling that the interim title fight was going to be at 145, and yeah. But honestly, I didn't even want to try to make it seem like pat myself on the back because I thought I knew it. To me, it just seemed pretty obvious that was going to be the fight next, because both their wins are so undecisive. I feel like you almost had to put them together to make a rightful number one contender.
No. Do you have a parlay buster of the year that just stands out in your head? Because I lose sleep over the one that I have, dude. I lose sleep over this every single time I think about making bets,
dude. My bets get busted every weekend. There's so many bets that have gotten busted. Like, I could not tell you which one busted it, because I could literally go through every weekend to tell you which one was the one that really killed me the most.
I've never gotten as close to winning like $13,000 off of 50 cents in my life, dude. The Julian Marquez versus RoboCop eats me to no end, dude. I'm pretty sure that was this year, right? Like, I don't even know.
That was this year.
Dude, that was the one fight that I got wrong on the entire card. And the one other one, dude, is Johnny Walker versus Iwan Kutalaba to start round 2, dude. Those are the two bets that stay in my head. Like, damn, bro. If I would have just left those off, dude. If I would have just left those off. Every single time I make bets, those two bets come into my mind. Like, please, let's not be this weekend, dude.
Stays in your head rent free, baby.
It does. So, so we'll move on to who is a fighter that surprised you this year that that you weren't, I guess, the biggest fan of, or you didn't know a whole lot about, that now that you know a little bit more about, looking forward to next year, you are interested to see what they do, how they do, the progression that they make. Do you have these or no?
Yes, I only had did you want us to go male and female, or just one?
I had like just one of each, but they don't have to be like any like long reason why or anything like that, but you don't have to have two. It's all right, man.
Yeah, honestly, I would probably say two fighters that we've actually been talking about on this show today, and I think in the women's division, I think you got to say Erin Blanchfield. Although I feel like I kind of knew her after that Miranda Maverick fight, and she had a pretty dominant decision in that fight, but for her to come out and get the finishes in the way that she's been able to this year, and for her to get that finish against Molly, and now she's going to parlay this into a potentially a number one contenders fight, man, I would definitely say that she's one who went from prospect to contender pretty quickly, and I'm definitely interested to see what she's able to do. And I think for the other one, in the men's division, is another guy we were talking about earlier in the show, Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze, we've seen him fight at 205, I think once or twice in the UFC. kind of middle of the road guy it almost seemed. But then he made the transition to 185, and you could just see that that's a big ass dude when he goes in the octagon when he's fighting against the other 185ers, and it's crazy to even think that he was that he could even make 185 considering he was fighting at 205. But the way he's been able to go out there and get those finishes in the way that he has against Phil Halls, Kyle Dawkins, and then and taking all these fights on like short notice, going in against Jack Hermanson. Put Jack Hermanson, who's one of the more decorated grapplers in 185, put him in a calf slicer and completely ground and pounded him until he turned him into ground beef. So those two fighters popped up on the map for me this year. And I'm definitely interested to see what both are capable of doing in 2023.
Interesting, man. I like both of your picks. I guess I can't really use them because I was a fan of fucking like Roman Dolidze, like off the Contender series, dude. I was like, you gotta watch out for this guy. And Aaron Blanchfield, I guess I kind of seen coming for like a little bit now. I don't know why I didn't throw her in there. My female though is Yasmin Haregi, dude, burst onto the scene this year. She's got a dog in her, dude. She can take a shot on the chin, but she is down to bang fights at 115, dude. She doesn't run out of gas, and she's only, I think, 20 years old, maybe 21 years old now. She's a mom, so she has that fire in her to fart to fight. She has something to fight for, dude. It hasn't happened in a while. I haven't farted the fights in a while, dude.
She's got them powerful farts, man. I mean, I'm telling you, she can get her opponents out of there.
Yeah, man. She is Mexican, so I live with that every single day, so I know what those can be like,
As you look around the corner and make sure she ain't coming.
Nah, my door is closed. My door is closed for sure. But my male to watch out that I'm interested to see what they do next year. I haven't really been like the biggest fan of this guy. I don't know if you could call me a fan really. I'm just interested to see where he goes after the year he had this year. And that is the almighty Arnold Allen, dude. I guess I wasn't really a huge fan of Arnold Allen before this year. And he doesn't fight too often, usually like one time a year. So like if you're not watching every single UFC card, you might miss him fight. So I don't know if I just didn't know a whole lot about Arnold Allen, but this year, dude, after seeing him beat Dan Hooker, and then he was ready to take on Calvin Kattar. I know that the fucking knee thing happened. That was a fight that I was truly interested in seeing. Like, I want to see what happens in Arnold Allen versus Calvin Kattar. That'll let me know where Arnold Allen is at in his career. He's still young and almost undefeated, dude. So I'm interested to see what happens with Arnold Allen this upcoming year, dude. I guess thoughts on my picks overall, dude.
Yeah, Yasmin Uregi. I don't that's one that we were kind of talking about her. I think she also fought on that UFC Austin card as well, if I remember correctly. So
no, she was on the San Diego card.
Or that's the one that it was on. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one it was. I knew it was kind of around that summertime, but yeah, no, she's definitely a savage, and she's got some good striking. So, like I said, like you were saying, for her to be so young, definitely want to see what she can kind of build on there. And for Arnold Allen, I think it was just such an unfortunate ending in that Calvin Kattar fight, because I think if he was able to win that fight, I mean, you can make the argument that he was really going to be able to get the interim title shot against Josh Emmett over Yair Rodriguez, just because I think Josh Emmett, just based on more merit, was going to be thrown in there just because he's the only guy really in that division who's on a decent win streak, and I think with Yair Rodriguez, with the way his last fight was kind of unconvincing, I guess you could say, because Ortega separated his shoulder. If Arnold Allen had a win out there and got a definitive win, you can make the argument that he would be in that title shot next. So he's kind of one, maybe two fights away. But I do agree with you. I would just like to see a little bit more activity out of him. But he's definitely, from what I've seen, he's a savage. So I would like to see him just stay a little bit more active, just keep himself a refresher in the fans' minds. And he's definitely got some ability, man. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's capable of doing in 23.
All right, man. So coming down to the end, I'm gonna throw a few names at you, or I'm gonna ask you a question. Just answer yes or no, and if it's a name like who do you want X person to fight, just throw the name at me. Um, just really short answers. We're gonna come down to the end here, closing off the final episode of 2022. Remember, if you guys supported us this whole year, we greatly appreciate you so much. Thank you for sticking around, giving us a chance over here. Hitting that little like button every single time. All of those who subscribe to the channel, that comment every single week, or the majority of the weeks. We appreciate every single one of y'all. So thank you very much for supporting us here on the channel. Coming down to the end, dude. Going to throw a few at you. We're going to talk about the stars of the sport, basically. What's next for them? So, Conor McGregor, dude. Who does Conor McGregor fight this year, if at all? Give me a name.
Man, I would say probably Michael Chandler. And I know I just because basically you could throw Michael Chandler in there against anybody. But I think with Michael Chandler's style, I think it obviously make for a fun fight. And for the UFC, I'm sure they want to try to see Conor McGregor get back on a win streak there. With Nate Diaz likely not to re-sign with the UFC, I think you got to go Chandler.
All right, fair enough. Moving on down, we got the Sugar Show, Sean O'Malley. Does he fight Cheeto next?
Man, it almost wouldn't make sense for him to fight Cheeto unless it's for an interim. I think you got to see him in a title fight. I think at this point, it kind of seems like that's what O'Malley's that's what Sterling. If Sterling's not able to get the Cejudo fight, that's kind of seems like the way that he's been leaning is either Cejudo or O'Malley. So Cejudo doesn't end up getting the title shot for whatever reason. Could be, maybe he needs to get USADA tested or whatever. I think Sean O'Malley fights for the title next.
All right, yes or no? Do we see Francis fight in 2023?
Yes.
All right. Could possibly play off of this one. Do we see John Jones fight in 2023?
No.
All right. Interesting there. Khamzat. Who does Khamzat fight at his first fight of 2023? 170 or 185?
I think he fights 170. I think he fights 170.
All right. Fair enough. Moving on down. What's next for Patty, dude? Who do you match Patty up with after pretty much struggling with Jared Gordon, man?
Man, I think that's kind of the thing. It's like you don't really know who to match him up against. I mean, you can maybe, and I know it's going to sound like dumb, but you can maybe match him up against Clay Guida. Somebody like that who's not going to be super dangerous, but still at the same time be able to provide a test. At the same time, because Clay Guida is hard to put away, and he's been competitive in his last few fights. So someone like Clay Guida, I think, would be a good kind of building block for Patty.
The Dennis Seaver for Patty. I feel you, dude. So the last name that I have, dude, we haven't really talked about him much in the past few weeks ever since he has disappeared from the December 10th pay-per-view. We got Bo Nickel, man. Do we see Bo Nickel in 2023? And who do you think, I guess, give me a name that you think he should fight?
I almost think you have to see him in 2023, because if you don't see him at that point, it's almost like, what was the UFC signing him for in the first place? But yeah, I think you just keep the Jamie Pickett fight. If that's a fight that he's willing to take, I think that's a good gradual step up. You're not fighting anyone who's considered a top 25 middleweight by any means.
Definitely not at all.
No, but I know you don't think so. But no, someone who can definitely someone who's experienced enough in the UFC, but can still provide a decent test for Bo Nickel, but a fight that he should be able to win in the same sense. So I just think you keep that fight and just reschedule it for a later date, and maybe put it on a pay-per-view just to satisfy Bo Nickel.
Yeah, man, that is everything that I have. You want to ask me anything? You want to say anything before we get out of here, man? Last show of the year. Yeah, man, good year overall.
Yeah, man, great year. And No, man, I really didn't have anything else except for, thanks to the fans kind of, giving us a little boost and kind of coming in here. And, a lot of times I'll go back after the fact and look in the comments, and I'll comment back to some of you guys. I know you get the notification immediately. So I know you're pretty much on it. And I know you'll give me a kick in the butt reminder as well, as like, hey, go check out some of the comments and see. So just thank you to the fans, just all you guys out there, just willing to give us a listen. It definitely doesn't go unappreciated. We definitely love the support, and thank you guys again for giving us an opportunity. And we can only hope to come back better next year and come out with better content for you guys.
Exactly, man. Exactly. We will be here next year. We will try not to miss any weeks next year. That means before every fight week and after every fight week, we will try to be here, give it our hardest, best chance. That being said, we are going to take like 2 weeks off or so. We will be back the week before the first fight card of the week. So I'm sorry, of the year. So the first fight card of the year is January 14th. So expect us to be back that week or the week before with maybe like a little beginning of the year episode, just something like that, something small, maybe. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? But yeah, man, at this point, but we've been going on for like a little bit, but at the same time, it's kind of like fucking bittersweet because I know it's the last show like of the year, and like I just want to, just I'm just thankful that people actually fucking listen to us, dude. So once again, thank all of you for just listening to us, and just truly everyone that just watches the channel overall. I really put a lot of time into this channel over the past year, really. Like I've been going hard as fuck 2 times a week, every single week for literally the past year, nonstop. I took 1 week off for a vacation, and I filmed while I was on vacation and uploaded it to YouTube the second that I got back. So just want to thank everyone for this past year. I know Dorian is also super grateful. He's just here 1 time a week, but if it was no one fucking listening to us, then he would be like, bro, I'm not doing that shit. Back when we started, we literally just had the few people that we know listening, like the probably less than 10 people in all reality. And then now, maybe y'all don't listen the whole time, but there's on average about 100 people that like listen to this every single week, dude. So, you know, if you want to do something like this, don't be afraid to. We're truly just two fans that are big UFC fans, and we just love to talk about the sport overall. But I'm not going to ramble anymore. I'm not going to hold Dorian up anymore. We appreciate everyone all year long. That's going to be all from us here this time. Matt Anderson, Dorian Rose. This is the Golden Octagon MMA podcast, and we appreciate y'all from this entire year to now, and we'll see y'all next year. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. We'll catch y'all next year. Peace.
Peace.